high school football season down to week number 9. It's the final game of the regular season. The next week we begin tournament play. Head coach Tawfeek joining us again this week. And Coach, I'd mentioned to you before we were going to start today, and I, like you, I watch a lot of college football. And I want to mention something to you, and I think that the fans out there that have been tuning in all year and they hear you talk a lot about the weight room and what it means to be in the weight room.
Yeah.
I was watching Michigan State, Michigan, and I was watching another college football game, and you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember which one it is. And the two programs had a similarity, and they said what we did is we got away from the weight room, and it cost them a whole year.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't probably get away for the entire year, but they didn't have the same program they had built in that made them successful for so many years.
Sure.
All of a sudden they get back to it, the success level comes back. I'm at Hagerstown on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Unsolicited comment from Scott Snodgrass, their head coach. He sent out a congratulations to the volleyball team, the cross country team, and he said, you know, what made the difference between those two programs? Not that they didn't have success, but they've taken it to a new level as we were all in the weight room together.
Yeah.
Speed, strength, agility, all the same things he said made the difference in their programs, and they kind of fed off each other.
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly what you've been saying this whole time, is that if this program had been in the weight room consistently and religiously, you probably wouldn't be having the problems you're having now?
Yeah, I think, well, you know, there's a lot. We got a lot of experience as well.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of young kids. A lot of. We're actually from this year's team. We're not losing much.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to lose 3 seniors that have played in every single game, 6 seniors that have really contributed all together. You know, so out of 60 plus kids, we're losing 6 of them.
Yeah.
You know, so the weight room is definitely a part of it, but I think inexperience played a part as well. But the weight room, I think, is the biggest part.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. And I would even add another example in there is Centerville, Coach Padgett. You know, I co-taught last year with Coach Horton, who's the strength and conditioning guy for Centerville. And you know, you go back a year ago, and Centerville didn't have a very good season. Last off season, they had 98% attendance.
That's right.
In the off-season weight program, and look at what they're doing this year.
Yeah.
You know, so there is no secret sauce.
Yeah.
You know, it is a simple game. It's a simple formula. Hard work wins. If you put in the work, you build your body up, good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty simple.
I had to share that because I'm sure that there are a lot of football people out there that a lot of them think they know, and I understand that. I mean, we all want to be the armchair quarterback and know the answers, but like you said, the bottom line is you got to put that armor on for Friday night.
Absolutely.
So I wanted
especially
to
playing against some of these teams we're playing against.
Yeah.
You know, we are really playing against some pretty solid competition. You know, even when I look at our opponent record, you know, our opponent record is over 500 this year. You know, so the teams that we've been playing have been having really solid years, and that goes everywhere from Connorsville to Arsenal Tech. You know, the 2 teams that have losing records on our schedule have been Muncie Central and Anderson.
Yeah.
You know, all the other teams have winning records.
Yeah.
You know, so and you look out there on Friday nights, and you know, you may not be able to see it from the stands, but you know, you get out there up close and personal, and you see the physical development of those kids versus the kids that we have on our team right now. And there's a stark difference.
Yeah, there is. Well, and by the way, there have been a couple of games I have not broadcast. I've been down on the sidelines, and I have seen them up and close, and it does open up your eyes a little bit. You got to look. You do have to get a little closer to them, and some you can see from a distance, but
well, I mean,
makes a big difference
when you don't have an offensive lineman. You know, we may have one offensive lineman that can bench press 225.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I mean, that's kind of what we're working with.
Yeah.
You know, 5 kids in the entire program who could bench press 225, squat 315, and power clean 205 pounds.
Yeah.
And which I would consider baseline minimals for any kid that's a junior or senior.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the baseline. That's quarterback and wide receiver numbers.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
and so
lineman numbers.
No way. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, no way, man. We're talking 300 plus for those guys is where they need to be. And then you know, you look at the squat. I mean, you know, we've got offensive linemen who aren't squatting 315.
Yeah.
How do you expect an offensive lineman to go out there and push a 275-pound kid around the field, 260, you know, if he can't squat that much?
You can't.
You know, it's impossible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much technique and fundamentals and skills you teach the kid. You know, they don't have the strength right now.
Yeah,
you
very
true.
true.
And we'll get them there, though.
Yeah.
You know, I promise you that. We will get them there. We are going to be in that weight room religiously. You know, we're going to have a lot of contests with it. Our coaches are going to be involved. Each one of our coaches is going to take a different group each day and model exactly what solid weightlifting looks like. We're going to have competitions amongst the coaches. We're not going to do the biggest loser. We're going to do the biggest gainer. You know, and whoever has the most gains at the end of the off season, we're going to do something special for them. And we're going to do the same thing for the kids as well. You know, we'll break them down in a position group, or maybe we'll do it by class. We haven't worked out all the details yet because we're still in the thick of it in football season. But, you know, just some ideas that we've tossed around. You know, we're going to do the biggest gainer contest, and you know, we're going to be in there lifting with the kids, and the expectation is 3 days a week in the off season, and plus we have to get every single one of our football players in the weightlifting class.
Yeah.
You know, that way if they want to wrestle, they want to play basketball, they want to do track, they want to do baseball, any of those sports, you know, they can do those, and we don't have to worry about, is he getting his lift in?
Exactly.
You know, so.
Well, I think what we're going to do at some point, we're going to come back in the off season and show people what you're doing, because I think that would be very interesting to do. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, I'd love it.
Hey, before we take a break, I know you're very disappointed last week.
Yeah, definitely.
There's been two times this year that I just didn't want to. You didn't want to talk to me, I'm sure, afterwards, and I wasn't sure how to talk to you. But I knew you were disappointed last week.
Yeah, definitely. You know, anytime that, you know, and this year it's just been one of those years, and I knew that this was the game against Anderson was our opportunity to get that win, you know, and I wanted it so bad, and we were in the game. We were in the game, 13-7 at halftime, 2 opportunities to score down in the red zone before we go in at halftime. You know, if I had $1 for every time we've been in the red zone and haven't came away with any points, I'd be a rich man.
You would be,
you know, because we have left so many points on the field this year. And you know, it was definitely frustrating, you know, to not come away with that one. And you know, there was a point in the game where I've kind of felt like the kids just gave up a little bit. You know, kind of quit fighting. And you know, when it rains it pours. You quit fighting, and next thing you know, they hit us with, you know, 3 long touchdowns, pass plays. 3 long touchdown passes that kind of put the game out of reach, and you know, it's just one of those deals. But yeah, I'm definitely disappointed, and was disappointed especially after the game. Look, I'm a really, really highly competitive guy. Absolutely hate to lose, and I'm so passionate about this, you know, and not just winning and losing, but passionate about these kids. You know, I feel like, man, these kids, we've worked so hard this season, and I felt like, man, they deserve to win. And you know, when they kind of quit and, you know, didn't play as hard as what I thought they could have been playing, and we went and looked at it on film, you know, and they saw it, you know, on Saturday after the game. But it was frustrating, and you know, I would like to apologize to you. I'm one of those guys who wear my heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And always kind of been like that, and that's something that I'm trying to work on, you know, as a coach, and grow at, not necessarily wearing my heart on my sleeve, especially in those situations where I'm doing interviews and things like that. But I'm just so passionate about this.
Never apologize. I know exactly. I know where you've been. So, all right, tell you what, it's not going to get much easier this week. It's going to be a Harrison football team, and they love to run the football. That's for sure. We'll talk about the Raiders coming up next, right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
For the past 35 years, Van Vliet Insurance has built a reputation of bringing a personal touch. That's because at Van Vliet, it's all about you, your needs, your life, and our town. Along with providing quality coverage to individuals, families, and local businesses, we're proud of our community and the opportunity we have to protect your future within it. Van Vliet Insurance, an Erie Insurance representative. Hometown professionals at work for you.
As we mentioned in our previous segment, final game of the regular season against the Harrison Raiders. By the way, don't let their record fool you. I know they're only 5-3. I say only 5-3 and 4-2 in the conference, but I look at some of their numbers, Coach, and I know their quarterback issue is still there a little bit, but they can still run the football like crazy.
Yeah, I tell you, they kind of have a two-headed monster at quarterback. They put like a traditional quarterback in there sometimes. And then they'll put number 23 in there at quarterback and kind of run some wildcat. But yeah, I mean, there's no secret to what they do. They're just going to line up. They're going to play football and run smash mouth. They're going to run the football right at you and expect you to stop them. They're an extremely physical team.
Yeah.
You know, they've lost to Lafayette Jeff. They lost to McCutcheon. I'm not sure who their other loss to. It wasn't a conference loss, though. I know that much. But you know, they played Jeff tough. You know, they played Jeff really tough. You know, they played McCutcheon pretty tough. So, you know, it's not an easy league. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There are some really heavy hitters in our conference, and you know, Jeff and Harrison are up there at the top of the conference.
I will point out something. I'm going to ask you how you're going to stop the running attack here in a minute. It's such a physical game, so get ready for that question.
Yeah.
Go back, I think 3-4 years ago, they went 3 straight years at 0-10. This is Harrison, by the way, 0-10.
Right.
They had to do the same thing you're trying to do.
Yep.
And if you talk to them, they'll tell you. And we had to change the culture. We had to change everything because I think their losing streak was at 35 or 36 because they lost like 6.
They went 3 seasons of 0-10 for sure.
And I think it was
the
7.
Previous one, it was like 1-9.
Yeah.
And then 2-8 the year before that. I mean, it was like 5 consecutive seasons of 5 consecutive years of losing.
So their losing streak was at, I think, 35, 36. So whatever it was long. So they had to change their culture too. So they kind of know what you were going through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and you look at the teams like Harrison and Jeff, and you go back some years, and they were sitting there looking, you know, just like us, and similar situations. You know, having to come in, rebuild the culture, put the emphasis on the things that need to be emphasized. Weight room, you know, academic excellence, character development, and you know, and look where they're at now.
Yeah.
You know, and I firmly believe that that's where we will be within a few years. We're going to get this thing turned around, and you know, right now we're just, you know, going through the fire. But you know what they say: the hottest fire forges the strongest steel.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I should mention that. Last year, if some of your returning players don't remember what happened last year, I thought it was one of the worst losses we ever had.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. I mean, they just simply tore Richmond to pieces from second one to the last second, and so hopefully at least got a bad taste in some of those players that you have on the team now that played last year. So
well, we didn't have a whole lot of players on the team.
No,
from
there's a couple.
You know. And out of the 10 that we had returning, I mean, I think only 3 of them are actually still healthy and playing for us right now.
All right, well, just give me the 3 then. How's that sound? Well, maybe they got a bad taste
those
in their
3,
mouth.
I'm sure, have a bad taste. They have been talking about it, you know, as a team, and you know, I've been hearing some of the whispers and everything. I think it was 51-7 last year at halftime, and ended up being 68-7 or something like that.
And in a game, I usually say not as close as the score may indicate. I mean, because they rolled up nearly 700 yards of offense. It
5
was just,
rushing touchdowns, 4 passing, and it was just, you know, man, that was that's a tough one. You know, I tell you what, we're just going to go out there and try to do our best, and you know, try to keep it competitive, and you know, and then go from there.
How do you stop the running attack? What's the best thing to do to slow that thing down and force them to throw the football?
You know, you just got to be disciplined. You know, you got to be disciplined, and you know, everybody's got to do their 1/11th on defense and do their job, fill their gaps, read their keys, fly around. We've got to get better at tackling.
Yeah.
You know, that's something we've kind of struggled with all season. A lot of arm tackles. You know, guys not really using their shoulder pads. So we've got to get better at tackling, because they've got some kids that can seriously break some tackles, and good speed. I mean, you look at them on film, they get after it up front.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell they live in the weight room, and you know, they drive people right off of the ball. And so you know, at the end of the day, it's just going to be about our guys going to be able to beat their guys in the one-on-one battles. You know, and if so, then we should do fine. You know, if not, you know, we're going to be in for a long night. But you know, offensively, what we're going to try to do is, you know, like we've been doing the past few weeks with Trayshawn Jones at quarterback, we're just going to run the football, try to shorten the game as much as possible. You know, limit the amount of possessions that they have, and hopefully that strategy will work out.
Okay. Coach,
Yep.
good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right. Abe Tawfeek joining us again this week. We want to remind you that Friday night's game, you can see it right here, the Radio Troy Digital Sports. I think it's still a 7 o'clock kickoff. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be a 6:30 pregame and a 7 o'clock kickoff. We have game notes on Harrison on radiotroy.com. If you haven't checked those out, you can see what the Raiders are all about coming into this contest. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next week right here, Radio Troy Digital Sports.